Bonjour à toutes et à tous.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this press conference of the presidency of the S&D Group at the European Parliament, being given by Iratxe García Perez. I will give her the floor, and then we will take some questions.
Muchas gracias. Thank you very much. Good morning to one and all. It's certainly a very intense morning today, and it's an intense morning for the EU. I'm sure you've been keeping close tabs on the debate ongoing in the plenary on the ruling of the so-called Constitutional Court in Poland. As I see it, this goes far beyond a bog-standard debate on Poland, because clearly this is an unprecedented crisis which has given rise to this ruling. And that poses the need to act in a very punchy manner. I'm sure you will have noted that the Prime Minister, Mr. Morawiecki, struck a less than conciliatory attitude. He wasn't trying to build bridges at all. He was being quite provocative there. Quite often in his statement, he failed to fulfill the underlying principles of the EU. He ignored those fundamental principles. This debate will have given him a clear idea of just how united the EP stands, with a few exceptions. We stand full square behind these fundamental values. Of course, there are different ways of looking at the EU. Some people make reference to the internal market and economic cooperation. However, the majority of EU citizens go far further than pure economics in their ideas. Much more brings us together than pushes us apart. And we need to lend a voice to those people in Poland who are greatly concerned at the drift this government is taking. Most surveys indicate that Poland has one of the strongest pro-EU feelings, and we've seen that because men, women, young people and old people have taken to the streets representing very different ideologies. But what brings these people together is the fact that they feel themselves to be true Europeans facing this major challenge we have ahead. So the socialist group will continue to stick up for rule of law. We will not backpedal. We've made it clear to the Commission that time has run out. It is time to act. And the Commission is the guardian of the treaties. And faced with a ruling such as this, the Commission has no pretext to just sit back. So we'll see how the end of the debate pans out. Many people have taken the floor already, and there will be a final round of the group leaders. We will hear from them. We hope that this important debate will round off soundly. It's not just a bog-standard debate on Poland, such as we have been conducting over the past year or so. To my mind, this debate goes far beyond that. I likewise think that those of us who have Europe close to their hearts are clear as to their responsibilities. Now, quite apart from this debate and the votes and the resolutions and so on, which you are all extremely familiar with, this week we have a debate. I'm sorry, not a debate, because that was in the previous plenary. We have the resolution on the Pandora Papers. And I have to admit there is a joint draft resolution there. The EP decided not to play ball and presented its own proposal. So the joint resolution on the Pandora Papers will, or in fact has been tabled by the S&D, Renew, the Greens and the Left. In any case, it's important that we crack on with this resolution. And as we saw in the debate in the foregoing plenary, we do have to act clearly against tax havens. We must take a decisive action at the level of the EU to have a common taxation policy, and we must grapple with the changes in decision-making, because we have a situation whereby some countries are refusing to take decisive action in the fight against tax havens, and they are stymieing proposals to do so. Often the stymieing is being done by people who are referenced in the Pandora Papers. So, once again, the Parliament has to take a hand in matters. We will also have a debate on the upcoming Council, which will be held this Thursday and Friday. There will be fundamental debates there. We've already told you about these, but we will stress these issues in tomorrow's debate. For example, energy prices and the need to have joint measures to address this situation so that energy is no longer inaccessible to the most vulnerable people in the EU. The European Union must act here. And there is the issue of energy poverty and families who are unable to keep up with the successive price hikes this winter. We will also be addressing migration reform, and once again we will emphasize the need for the Council to take decisions on this and not just kick back and relax, because headway must be made on a common policy, because migratory flows are a reality affecting all of the EU, so we must act together. There are also a number of other issues addressed in the plenary, for example, debate and a resolution on the COP26 in Glasgow, the farm-to-fork strategy in agriculture, where significant progress has been made. There are a number of other issues we will be talking about. Questions from you will be warmly welcomed. Questions on the plenary.
Merci.
Thank you, Iratxe. And we now look forward to your questions. Please make sure that you tell us your name and the media outlet that you represent. Please go ahead.
Densky, I work for Europe Diplomatic. I have a question about Sakharov Prize, and I start with a short quote of Andrei Sakharov. And he said, "Both now and for always, I intend to hold fast to my belief in the hidden strength of the human spirit." So my question to you is, why your group have decided to replace these inspirational examples of Malala or Nadia Murad, who showed in these dramatic circumstances this great strength of human spirit? You have decided to replace it by organizations, and you have proposed 11 organizations instead of individuals, because that's what I would like to underline, because we are inspired by those people, and instead of inspiration, you have chosen much more logical and, I would say, respectful approach, but I'm missing this very important part proposed by Sakharov. Where's the inspiration of your decision?
La verdad es que...
To tell you the truth, I'm somewhat taken aback by that statement. You're entitled, of course, to your views on who should be entitled to the Sakharov Prize. I mean, it's very hard to choose because there are so many women and men who even endanger their lives to stand up for human rights. I mean, you have your work cut out choosing between these people who will receive this recognition and acknowledgement. There are so many people throughout the world who deserve to be distinguished by the Sakharov Prize. So the S&D has decided to nominate 11 Afghan women, individual women who represent so many women and children in Afghanistan who have had their wings clipped. They are not able to develop as women. They have no access to healthcare, education. We must show due respect to all of these women who've spent years working to ensure that women in Afghanistan have their own voice and are acknowledged. These women are fully entitled to our respect. That's precisely why our group has endorsed these women. You may take a different view. You're entitled to your opinions, so please do show respect to the decisions taken by the various groups. We might be barking up the wrong tree in your view, but I, as the president of the group, I'm willing to answer your questions, and I have done so.
Non. Désolé, peut-être.
No, so perhaps in another place. Any other questions?
Hola, buenos días. Laura Zornoza.
Laura from Agencia EFE. What does your group think about the fact that President von der Leyen has announced no specific measures about the rule of law in Poland? Were you expecting dates to be set for the rule of law conditionality mechanism? I don't know what your feeling is. Why were there no tangible proposals? Thanks, Laura. Today, what we want to do is home in on the crux of this debate. What lies behind this debate? And, well, that's the Polish government, and we're looking at the ruling of the so-called Constitutional Court. That was our emphasis. But we were very clear. I was clear when I spoke. I conveyed a crystal clear message to the Commission saying, look, you must act on this. There are no excuses anymore. The ruling of the so-called Constitutional Court is plain to see. Regardless of what we might have expected the Commission President to say, we do have expectations, and we will raise these expectations to the Commission that they act as the guardian of the treaties, so that the Commission should enact all possible measures to ensure that laws are complied with.
Oui, s'il vous plaît.
Yes, please go ahead.
My name is Piotr Kaczyński. I write for Onet.pl and Euractiv.com. My question for you is this. The Polish Constitutional Tribunal back in 2005, so à l'époque, has given three options in today's situation: to change the Union treaties, to change the Polish constitution, or to leave the European Union. What is the most likely scenario do you foresee to happen in the Polish case as we are following the Morawiecki debate?
Pues evidentemente.
It goes without saying that we can't amend the treaties. We can't have any cherry-picking on the part of the Polish government. That's set in stone. Therefore, what we expect is that the Polish government take measures and cease to be so irresponsible. Therefore, they ought to be backpedaling not only on the ruling of the Constitutional Court, but they should also backpedal on all the measures they have enacted over the past few years, which have already greatly imperiled and undermined the fundamental principles of the separation of powers, the separation of the estates. Therefore, rule of law being complied with in Poland is the same as complying with the rule of law throughout Europe. But that's what we expect from the Polish administration.
Thank you, Iratxe. Are there any further questions?
Ça ne semble.
I don't seem to see any. Thank you again, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.